Well, good morning, everyone. This is a beautiful day and the sun is shining. Perhaps not the best example to show that we need more lights in the city, but the truth is that we do. Lighting helps almost everything, from making people feel safe as they walk down the street, from deterring would-be criminals from committing a bad act, to just making people feel better. We need to make sure that our lighting infrastructure is up to par, that we're resolving some of the backlog that we've seen in lighting repairs over the last several years, and now is the time to do it right. It's also super important because although it's getting light pretty early right now, and it stays light until quite late at the moment, there will be a time not too long from now where young people and students are getting up in the morning and going to school in pretty much the pitch black, unless there are street lights out, unless we've done the work ahead of time to make sure that kids can walk to school and walk back from school after soccer practice with lights. And so we're investing about $13 million in total in this budget. That's on top of the approximately $1.2 million that we put in through ARPA to enhance our lighting system, to expand our lighting system, and to eliminate the backlog that we already have now. So let me kind of go through what that looks like practically and what it means in terms of the dollars. This is $9 million to replacing some of the outdated systems that we have in Loring Park, in Como, in Marcy Homes, and in Stevens Square, which is where we are right now. That's $9 million. We had the $1.21 million in ARPA funding that was to help eliminate some of the backlog. We've got $2.5 million, which will go to some of the capital projects and specifically adding new lights. So adding more light posts and more of the ability for people to chart their way home. And then finally, it's $1.45 million in maintenance, in improvements, LED and sign improvements as well, to make sure that we don't just have any lights, but they're sustainable and that they light the way as much as possible. Every neighborhood in our city deserves to feel safe. Part of feeling safe is making sure that streets are well lit and that would-be criminals are deterred. We've seen it directly in this neighborhood in Stevens Square, and right now, and this is coincidental, I noticed as we were pulling up, I used to live there. Sublet an apartment back in St. George's Apartments when I first was a summer associate out here at Faegre and Benson. And I can tell you, even back then, it was clear that this particular area needed improvement with light. So we're going ahead and we're doing it. We're making the necessary investments. And a big part of that is getting back to the basics. These are the basics that people in our city should expect. They should expect a well-lit path on their way to school. They should expect a well-lit path on their way to work. And they should expect to feel safe. This is fundamentals done right. So I'm so proud to be here with a number of our extraordinary council members. The council member of this particular ward here in Stevens Square is Council Member Jamal Osman of Ward 6. Let's bring him up. Council member, thank you.
Sure. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Mayor Jacob. Large part of my ward need a better lighting. It's a public safety issue and its core. Here in Stevens Square, broken street lights is the biggest concern I hear from my community. During the we were less than 10 working street lights in this neighborhood, and it's going to make Minneapolis a lot brighter if we invest in the community. The investment made this budget is street lighting is going to make Minneapolis bright again. Neighbors will feel safer walking on the streets at night. $4.5 million this year is a huge investment, and this is an important piece of infrastructure the city plans. And that money will help fill the dark spots of our city throughout my ward. This will make people a lot safer and restore the necessity of the city services. My community will feel that they are getting part of the city services they deserve. And now, there is one of my colleagues who always shines brighter than a street light, and that is my friend, Councilmember Latricia Vita.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just trying to get it in there.
That was really sweet. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank the mayor for his proposed investment towards street lighting and infrastructure. I am so excited to see this initiative being brought to life. It was Northside residents who first brought the idea to light. Some of my first meetings after being sworn into office were with neighborhood leaders and the Northside Youth Council. They wanted to be a part of the solution of our public safety issues. We all agreed that street lighting and infrastructure was a simple yet effective way and strategy. While meeting with the Northside Youth Council, they offered their firsthand experiences living in neighborhoods without proper street lighting. They shared photos with us of their walks to and from school where it was completely pitch black, especially in the colder months. After meeting with them, I knew it was time for us to step our game up and invest in our community so that people could feel safe during their day-to-day lives. We know that better lighting is an effective way to address public safety. Where there is good lighting, there is less crime and people feel safer. Although street lighting is not going to completely resolve the crime issue, it is one of the ways we as a city can take action. My office has been working with Public Works and Excel Energy to identify areas that are lacking in street lighting infrastructure so we can focus our financial resources strategically. This, of course, does not include street lighting that has been damaged or is not working. I encourage everyone to keep in contact with 311 and their council representatives so that these instances are well documented. I look forward to working with my colleagues on the council and the mayor in making this investment in our communities. Let's get lit, Minneapolis.
Well, that's okay. That's all right. I can do this. Good afternoon. I'm Margaret Anderson Kelleher. I lead the Department of Public Works for the City of Minneapolis. We are responsible for a large number of the streetlights in Minneapolis, over 20,000 in fact. And so today we're here to highlight and thank the mayor. I want to thank the council members, particularly Councilmember Vita and Councilmember Osmond, who've been really strong advocates of more money for street lighting. During the pandemic, we had the double whammy of continuing the aging infrastructure of our city, which is a story that we are telling through the proposed investments that the mayor is making in the budget to remedy that, but also because of the pandemic. We had real impacts in our street lighting system. And so we are grateful for the funding, both the ARPA funding that the mayor referenced that is coming more quickly to resolve the problems, and also the 2023 and 2024 budget proposal. So the ARPA funding here in the Stevens Square, Loring Heights neighborhood is been dedicated $150,000 for the 10 blocks worth of lighting and underground electrical wiring that is failing. That is the major reason that in a few of our neighborhoods we see total outage. It doesn't matter about replacing a bulb because the lights won't come back on. And so what we're going to walk over and see today is the work that's underway at 17th and 3rd that's directional boring to put in new lighting systems, which will bring the lights back online. We also have for the 311 backlog, and we do want people still reporting their lights out, but the fact of the matter is we have now $450,000 to help address that backlog of lighting. That work has also started to be able to relieve the backlog of lights. It's one of my top priorities as Public Works Director when I came in March is to get this backlog down in the numbers. And we also have a number of amount of money that's going to help, $175,000 to help with conversion to LED lighting on West Broadway as well as East Lake Street, which are important corridors, cultural corridors, and will increase the safety for people. That work hasn't started yet, but will be coming soon. We also are going to be installing lights next to 3 schools, Hall School, Franklin School, and Bancroft School. This is about $500,000 of ARP funding that is going to install 40 new street lights in these areas. That work has not started, but also is coming soon. And then, of course, the mayor has just proposed in his budget $9 million, $4.5 million in the 2023 and 2024 budget for the full replacement, continuing the work here in Stevens Square, Loring Heights neighborhood, Como, and Marcy Homes neighborhoods. And that work is already, we are doing pre-work and hope that the council will approve the mayor's budget in full to be able to address these critical lighting issues. We do have experts that when we walk over to see the directional boring can answer your technical questions, and I'm going to turn this back over to the mayor for questions right now.
Thank you so much, Director Kelleher, for your tireless efforts here. A big thank you to my council colleagues who have been lit 100% of the time between council members Vitaw and Osman, and our city staff and experts with Brett Jelly and Alan Klugman and Steve Mosing and Joe Lauren. You all have done a tremendous job in putting all this together. There is a lot of logistics that I was not previously aware of that go into these massive systems that is our lighting infrastructure. So with that, we'll open it to any questions, and then we'll take a little bit of a tour.
So the question was, of the 20,000 streetlights, how many are functional, how many are down right now? So our backlog number was at 650 lights recently, and we are 250 right now. We have recorded as needing repair. So we've come a long way from that 650 lights out, but you can tell that of 20,000 lights, the majority of lights in Minneapolis are on and working. Well, our hope, yes, the question is, will the funding help us eliminate the backlog? That is our hope, that we can get down to a reasonable number of lights that need replacement or repair at any given time. Yeah, so the question about pandemic effects, it was a combination effect because there was a period of time, although Public Works is a department that largely has reported for duty every single day of the pandemic, there were necessary staffing prioritization during that period of time, being able to do sort of the most emergency work possible. And also there's supply chain issues that have been going on. Everybody has heard about the supply chain issues. That is still going to be a bit of a challenge for this lighting issue. There are key electrical components that are harder to get, as well as be able to get that caught up. And so all of those things were kind of a perfect storm of affecting our backlog of lighting. And I think that, we're doing a good job of getting that backlog down and really being able to get the lighting up. Yeah. No. So on, what has caused the failure in these neighborhoods, particularly Stevens Square, Loring Heights neighborhood, the Como neighborhood, and the Marcy neighborhood actually has to do more with the type of wiring. It was more that it was wiring that was coming in contact with the elements versus conduit that is allowed to then protect that wiring, keep it drier, keep it safer. It won't be able to be subject to the elements as much. So these particular neighborhoods had a style, and we can talk about this a little bit on the tour, a style of application of the wiring that made it more susceptible. So it had more to do with that than theft. The conduit protects it, and this should provide a more durable system for many, many years. All right. Okay, should we go on a little walk down this way?
Let's do it.